Okay, so another film that's available through streaming services. This is on Curzon Home Cinema, System Crasher, which is a German drama by writer-director Nora Finkscheid, who's, I think, currently working with Sandra Bullock on a big screen adaptation of that Sally Wainwright TV series Unforgiven, written by Chris McQuarrie. I think that's right. So System Crasher is this drama about a traumatized 9-year-old with uncontrollable anger issues who leaves a kind of trail of chaos in her wake. Her schools, family, social services are all failing to get to grips with her sort of violently unruly spirit. She desperately wants to live with her mum, but she can't do because of her temperament and because a bunch of stuff that appears to be in her past and just makes it impossible because she is uncontrollable. The first time we meet her, she's being excluded once again from yet another establishment. She's desperately searching for somewhere to belong, although it seems from her own approach, which is kind of weirdly sort of smiling and buoyant, that actually what she's doing is she's searching for somewhere else to break. She has an ally. She has many allies. One particular ally in the form of Frabanafi, who basically just wants what is best for her. And then she also has this school escort, this man who takes her to school so that he can be there while she's in school to monitor her, to basically to kind of to keep her under control. And he sees in her something that he thinks that he can connect with. He's had kind of great success with other troubled kids, and he says at one point, "Look, let me take her off. I've got a cabin in the woods. I'll take her for like an intense period, 3 or 4 days. We will bond." And he hopes that this will kind of break down her resistance to to well, to treatment to some extent, but also it will help her bond to trust people again. She's got this absolute terror of her face being touched because of something that appears to be in her past. And there's this really touching moment because usually the people he deals with is teenage boys, very disturbed teenage boys. And she says to him at one point, "Am I the worst person you've ever dealt with?" And he laughs, says, "No, you're just a kid." But there is this solution, this suggestion, pardon me, that she really is the most difficult person because he can't seem to get beyond that barrier of her unruly temperament. I think what the director does is a brilliant job of evoking the hyperactive mindset of Benny, the central character, who is portrayed with this incredibly fiery energy by Helena Zengel, who's a force of nature on screen. And I think I'm right in saying is going to be co-starring with Tom Hanks in the Paul Greengrass film News of the World. And she's amazing. I mean, on screen, she is absolutely amazing, and her performance is utterly convincing, 100% committed. And through this kind of kinetic camera work and these pumping soundtrack cues, what the director does is show us the world through her eyes, also the world through the eyes of those around her who are trying to deal with her sort of incredible mood strings, but predominantly to see what the world looks like for her, often overwhelming, frequently scary, but also with this strangely kind of vibrant, thrilling aspect to it. And the drama is often alarming. There are scenes when she's lashing out, particularly at other kids, which they have like an almost documentary feel. At least one critic I've read said that there were certain scenes watching that he felt like he was watching something actually happening, not something being restaged, but something happening, such as the kind of the ferocity of that performance. But I think the really important thing about the film is that it never soft soaps those moments of crisis, but what it does do is it attempts to make us understand the world from her perspective. And we come back once again. I'm sorry to keep returning to this, but it seems so appropriate at the moment. We keep coming back to this Roger Ebert thing about the thing that cinema can do is it can create empathy. It can make you empathize with a character with whom you have nothing in common, with whom you have no shared experience, and yet you understand their world. And I think that is what System Crasher does. You absolutely do understand the world of that central character, and indeed the world of everyone around the central character. It's a really, really powerful piece of cinema. As I said, it's on Curzon Home Cinema, and Curzon are doing this series of live streamed director interviews. Funnily enough, I think I'm doing one next week, but tonight there is one with the director of System Crasher. So if you get a chance, do check that out and do check the film out. It's very, very powerful.